Dave, we're moving on to Disney now because we have Cruella, the Emma Stone production, Emma Stone film, reviving everyone's most hated fashion designer, Cruella Deville. This was a movie that was supposed to come out Christmas time 2020. Obviously, with COVID, Disney was not going to have their bag impacted, at least not for this one. When you get Emma Stone attached to this and Emma Thompson, I think they wanted to try to get a little more return on investment, so they dropped it May 28th of this year. So we're talking about this a little bit later than we typically would for a film of this hype. But Cruella. I mean, I guess first of all, is this a movie you felt like you needed? It's like, oh, I need to know the Cruella prequel story.
Well, no, but that's the answer for all of the Disney live action remakes, right?
Good point. At least this
So,
one's original.
yeah, this one's completely original and it doesn't change anything. I don't know, like, it doesn't change any calculus for me one way or the other. So, the fact that it's like an attempt to do something different and really tread a lot of new ground, I respect, versus something that's like a traditional remake, like the Lion King remake, right? Not technically live action, it's photorealistic, but that, for all intents and purposes, tried to be a beat for beat remake of Lion King with a few
Yeah.
exceptions. And that's the seventh highest grossing movie of all time. Obviously, it was a great call by Disney. But creatively, I thought that was about as bankrupt as these get.
Yep.
Cruella, um, I guess the decision to rebrand Cruella de Vil, at least in her early years, as more of an anti-hero than a villain, maybe that can raise an eyebrow or two. But I think it's cool to see something a little out there like this, at least.
Yeah. I think I think they're trying some stuff and going for it. You have Craig Gillespie as the director of this, and I think like,
Titania's his last
yeah,
film.
I think you can see some of that like DNA, right? Where um, I think there's some moments that feel a little bit like almost like I'm going with the word campy, I guess today, but it feels like it's just kind of like a little like too much, a little over the top. Obviously, this is based off a cartoon, so some of that's going to happen. Um, but it all kind of works. But at the same time, I felt like so many aspects of this movie didn't work, and it's very long. It's two
Mm.
hours, 10 minutes, and I got halfway through, and I was like, "How is there still an hour and 10 left of this?" I have no idea how they have that much more story to tell. There's a lot of plot. Obviously, it covers Corella's rise from orphanhood, or I guess Estella, her rise from
Yes. Yeah.
orphanhood into becoming Cruella Deville, as gets into the fashion world with the Baroness, who's,
Yep.
there's a twist there. There's just a lot going on. And then you just have like this crazy soundtrack, like I guess Cruella Deville is just like also like in the London music scene in the 70s and like pushing forward like popular music is kind of crazy. I don't know. There's just a lot going on in
Right.
this movie.
Soundtrack definitely stands out just because there's a lot of needle drops, a ton. And
Almost like a
also,
distracting amount.
yeah, I thought it was funny that you get covers from Tina Turner of Whole Lot of Love and Come Together. I was like, we specifically picked the covers for these. Maybe was that a cost saving
Had to be.
method? You don't want to pay the Beatles and Led Zeppelin. We'll get the covers instead. Like, not sure. That stood out to me. But yeah, there's a lot of needle drops, right?
Yep.
Which is funny because isn't the score Nicholas Bertel? Like,
Pretty sure that's
yeah,
right. Hold on, me.
like it's
Uh,
I think that the score itself is composed well. Yeah, it is Bertel.
yeah.
But you have all these other like distracting almost needle drops because like anytime there's not dialogue, there's a ton of music going on.
hmm Yeah, it's a very loud movie, and obviously that's kind of what they're kind of trying to characterize Cruella as, is this like rambunctious orphan who had to take care of herself, and she's turning all these plots and or turning all these tricks, and not in that sense, but like obviously like just to like get by. And it's a very, I don't know. It's just a lot. Is where I'm going. I think Emma Stone's pretty good actually, and I always like her. I think her and Emma Thompson have like a good rapport with each other. Um, I think it's interesting the way, like you said, that they kind of frame her as like a dog lover in this movie and like actually working really well with the dogs. And it's like, huh, okay. Um, I don't know. My thoughts aren't fully formed on this because I think there's just a lot to wrap my head around. What did you like or what didn't you like about the film? Let me go with this right there.
Uh, yeah. So I like Stone. I thought Stone was pretty good. I think she at the end of the day she kind of has to just roll with the script. She's It's hard to elevate this kind of material. I think because there's a lot of, as you said, a lot of plot and a lot of movement, but I think it works because and her performance works because you get a lot of lavish costume design and lots of different hairstyles and stuff. Like that's kind of fun. Like for a little bit, this movie is almost like The Devil Wears Prada. I think that's
Right.
probably the biggest flaw with the film is that it jumps around a lot. As you said, it's long, but there's like a lot of like distinct segments of the
Hmm.
film. It takes about halfway before we get like the Cruella persona really even manifesting, right?
Hmm.
But I like the rivalry between Cruella and the Baroness and like the cat and
Yeah.
mouse stuff. I thought that stuff was really fun. One other thing that I noticed was, and I believe this was shot pre-COVID for or at least most of it was. It seemed to have a lot of like minimal set design, right? Like you have
Hmm.
the home apartment, the Baroness's like studio office, and her home, and that's like it for like
That's
and
it.
a water fountain. Like that's like it for like sets, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
know why that stood out to me, but it did.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's definitely like a weird aspect of it, but I don't know if it like detracts in any way. I really like the interplay between her and her henchman there with Jasper and what's the other guy's name? Can't
Paul
remember.
Walter
Paul
Hauser's
Walter
character.
Hauser.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which I also was just like, they got so many people to hop in and just play like a bit role in this. You know, Paul Walter Hauser, who I can't remember if he actually got the nomination for Richard Jewell, but was certainly in the conversation
yeah,
as
he
like a
didn't,
best
but
actor. Um, you know, you have Mark Strong basically playing like a version of um his character of oh man, blanking on
you
the
mean
name
like
again.
Kingsman?
Yes, Kingsman. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
he's just like the same guy, kind of.
yeah. When
You know,
I was
Joel.
watching it, I was like,
Yeah,
something has to flip because Mark Strong is not in this movie to just be the butler
no, no way. And
or the
obviously,
assistant,
you read
whatever he
that
was.
right. Yeah, even Joel Fry has been getting like quite a few parts recently. I thought that
Yeah,
was
Game of
like
Thrones zone.
nice. Um, it wasn't one of the guys from Kayvon Novak was also in this. Just like a very like quick part, I think. Yeah, he was the lawyer, but
Oh,
obviously
oh,
we know
I
him.
didn't recognize him. That's funny.
Yeah, but um, we big fans of him, obviously. So it's just like there's a lot of talent around this, and I think overall, especially for like the Disney live action, like you mentioned, um, pretty good. Like I think this is probably one of the best ones, maybe top three. Would you say? I mean, you mentioned
Yeah,
that you think Aladdin is number one, right?
yeah. Aladdin's I think still my top one. Um, Yeah, think of the ones we've talked about, and there are others in these, but you have Cruella, Mulan, Lion King, Aladdin, Dumbo, Beauty and the Beast, and Jungle Book. Probably the most
Mhm.
notable of them. And again, there's a few others.
Jungle Book's pretty
Um,
good.
yeah, I would have Aladdin, Cruella, Beauty and the Beast, and Jungle Book. I think it's a pretty easy top tier. And
Yeah,
I think Aladdin for me was just the most entertaining. I think Mena Massoud as Aladdin was really winning. And yeah, heck, despite a lot of people's initial fears, Will Smith's genie was really great too. So that was one where I actually really appreciated the changes they made to the storytelling. Right, Cruella, being that it's completely original, really has nothing to adapt for the most
hmm
part as a prequel. Um, Almost has like attempts to have higher ambition. Like I said, like there's some like fashion drama angles to this, right? Like there's a lot of like parts to this film. Um, But yeah, I would say like especially if it wasn't as long, like it could be the best one, but still solid for, again for what you get, like all the caveats aside for these kind of movies.
yeah, it's fun. And I think I see kids really liking this movie. Um, so they definitely set it up for a sequel
Hmm.
with the after credits scene. So
Yep, and they have already
announce that.
announced, one's in
Yeah.
development. Next up on the remakes, let's talk. What do you think you're most excited for out of all these? We have The Little Mermaid, which I believe is the most recent one because that's been filming. We also have Peter Pan and Wendy from David Lowery, and it looks like Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio is picking up as well. Going to shoot relatively soon. Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Those
I'd
seem to
say
be the
that's the
three that are
one.
closest to getting made.
Yeah, I think that's the one I am least excited for. I probably Little Mermaid, especially because obviously they went with Halle Bailey
Yeah,
as Ariel, which will be
definitely.
an interesting twist. And the music in Little Mermaid just awesome. So
Mhm. Yeah, Melissa
that's probably it for
McCarthy as
me.
Ursula, Bardem
Yeah,
as the dad. Yeah, I'm into
great
that one.
cast. Yeah, is
What
that
the
the
one
one you're
I'm
most
not
excited
into?
for?
The one I'm not into is The Lion King 2 because it's being made by Barry Jenkins, and I just am really annoyed that Barry Jenkins has to follow up Underground Railroad with The Lion King 2. An indictment on Hollywood. Like
Maybe
he's
he'll
getting paid.
just.
This is an easy way for him to get paid. I totally understand. And
I like
maybe
Barry
he'll
Jenkins
elevate
getting the
it, but
bag.
like it's The Lion King, dude. Like we don't need this.
Just quick with we've mentioned this before, but going back to Little Mermaid, David Diggs as Sebastian and Aquafina as Scuttle. So very talented voice cast. But yeah,
Yeah. That's 2022 date, I believe.
yeah, Barry Jenkins. I mean, I don't blame him for getting the bag. I would love to see him just go with a really brutal, long shot of like some animal just like getting ripped apart. Just really make it
Mm.
like the Underground Railroad, but Disney.
Imagine.
Yeah,
Uh,
it would be really funny. But
we also
um,
recently got word that John Chu is attached to a Lilo and Stitch movie, and
nice.
I believe they're also trying to rev up Robin Hood. The
Okay,
animated Robin Hood remake. So,
I'm down with
Ro-
that.
yeah, and that'd be interesting, right? Because we get so much Robin Hood, right? It's one of those like I think copyrightless IPs at this point. So there's been many Robin Hood movies over the years, up and down to say the least. But the Disney one, right? The cartoon, the Fox, the animals. Maybe that's right for something. I don't know. I mean, they were talking about a Bambi one a few years
Uh,
back when Lion King came out.
do not need
I think
Bambi.
we got to stop with the photorealistic animals, if you ask me. But also, like Dumbo wasn't that good, but also was the lowest box office of all these remakes.
Mhm.
Pinocchio, Bambi. Maybe there's just not an appetite for the stuff from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, I was
Then
thinking
again,
like,
Beauty and the Beast was a big hit, so
yeah,
maybe it really is up. It depends what it is. I don't know.
feels like Snow White should be tapped soon, right? But like, maybe they're
When
just
we were
not
talking
going to
about Beauty
touch
and the
that
Beast is
one.
a '90s movie, I was thinking of Snow White as an old one.
That's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Snow, but maybe with the dwarves, they want to avoid that. I don't really know. I
right.
don't know.
Oh, well,
It,
actually, well, they kind of skipped that, right? Because they made Maleficent one and
yeah,
two. So
they went with the Cruella route, where they're like, we're gonna go with the.
yeah,
Um, and honestly, I don't need to see Cruella running around trying to kill dogs. Like, I just don't need that. Like, stick with this like anti-hero thing. I'm fine with that, but I really don't need to have 101 Dalmatians remade, in my opinion. Especially if they're all going to be animated like the dogs were in this. It's just like a lot. It's a lot of animation.
I hear you. Yeah. Well, the ones we just mentioned, most of these for them are more of a straightforward variety. So
Yeah.
we'll see. They're gonna keep making these because they keep making a shit ton of money. Like three of them are $1 billion movies. Like I said, Lion King is a top 10 grosser ever. So these print, and that's why they're
Yep.
making them. Is what it is.